Welcome to the TrueRotarian podcast. This podcast is specially designed for all the true Rotarians by a true Rotarian. So, what is your dream for Saksham Divyang, a fully empowered Divyang community?
My dream would be access, be awareness, the support, education, employment, and rights of any Divyang should be at the level that I have today. The number of people with disabilities in countries like ours, almost 40% of those have never had an access to education. There are people with mild visual disabilities, and we have very derogatory kind of remarks. Amba hai, langda hai, lula hai, kana hai. So,
Unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. And they actually magnify or create a single piece called a disability. Whereas many of these are marginal. And with the right support, these people would be as successful as you and I.
True. Welcome to True Rotarian Podcast, a podcast where we talk about stories of service and voices of change to inspire and motivate all the Rotarians and all the fellow Indians to please give it back to the society, make a stronger community and a strong Bharat. Welcome to you once again. And if you like our content, if you like our videos, please do like, share, and subscribe. Today, we will highlight one of Rotary's most meaningful journey of compassion, Rotary Divyang Kendra. Established in 1988, a place where mobility and dignity are gifted every single day. We are deeply honored and privileged to have with us Dr. AKS Rotarian Subramaniam, a very dear friend. And he's a visionary Rotarian, a medical expert, and a passionate advocate for disability inclusion. Thank you so much, sir. Welcome to True Rotarian Podcast.
Thank you.
And sir, this is your second time with True Rotarian Podcast. What do you feel about our journey so far?
See, at a personal level, I think it is a very enjoyable experience. Partly because the way the content is decided, and you realize you do your in-depth study of what we are discussing.
Yes.
So it becomes a pleasure. And of course, you have a great team, great quality recording, and it's shared with the kind of people who need to know what the civil society is capable of doing.
Absolutely.
To bridge the gaps.
So the Rotary Divyang Kendra has touched thousands of lives over the last 3 decades. What inspired your club in forming this particular vertical within your club?
You know, when the club had been functional for quite a few years, and the founder members were very genuine, true Rotarians, who believed in looking at life beyond just fellowships and business promotions and other things. And they realized that they had to do something significant in life. And as luck would have it, that was the era when the Jaipur foot just came into being.
Yes.
So prompted by the innovation, which was created in Jaipur, they suddenly decided that why not we get involved and start making that available to people who have lost their limbs from whatever reasons. So that was the beginning. And, it was the most exciting thing is, apart from one founder member of this trust who was an eye surgeon, all the others were non-medical people, but had the vision of creating something substantial.
Fantastic.
And that's how it started.
Wow. I was just reading it somewhere that before you sort of started Divyang Kendra, you had one of the most enviable project of eye testing in Rotary District 3011. I believe it was very, very famous project that you were doing
Yeah,
before Divyang Kendra.
yeah. You see, the role of particularly the eye bank. We all understand that there is a lot of blindness which can be corrected or prevented.
Yes.
So, preventable blindness has been one of the focus areas of Rotary and of several clubs in our district. So, the eye bank was created in Sir Gangaram Hospital way back as the first project. And Dr. SRK Malik, himself an eye surgeon from our club,
Uh-huh.
used to be the chair of the eye department at Gangaram.
Oh,
And that is a project we have continued on, promoting the awareness on the value of donating one's eyes after one is left this world, and how it benefits people with what we call the corneal blindness to restore the sight.
wow.
So it has been a very meaningful journey.
Yes, it's great project. I must say that I was going through the journey and things like that. I was very impressed and very inspired, and I keep talking to my club members also to see what great work some other clubs are also doing.
Absolutely.
And so, what were the early challenges and societal barriers at that time when you started Divyang Kendra?
See, I would like to address the challenges in terms of what we had as a club and as a community,
Yes,
and what we have today as a club and as a community.
true.
To begin with, the awareness itself, to realize the challenges that are faced by people with physical disabilities. See, right from an access not only to healthcare, not only to education, not only to employment, but even the ability to access a place where they would need to go. The buildings were inaccessible, centers were inaccessible, and the awareness that such a thing needed to happen was completely not there. And we started as a new club in 1975. So we also didn't have significant wherewithals to begin. So it was actually started in a small rented place in Paharganj,
Okay.
in a 10 by 10 kind of space
Uh-huh.
where it started. Then we were lucky enough to be allotted a little space in the LNJP hospital. And then subsequently we acquired our own plot in the institutional area in Karkarduma. We are grateful to the Delhi government for having helped us in acquiring that land. And then, of course, our own resources mobilized helped us to create the structure that we have today. So it's been a long kind of effort, ongoing, by every leader the club has had over the last 50 years.
Fantastic.
And each one brought in a different sense of expertise. But what they all brought in common and together was their commitment.
Because the cause was fantastic.
Absolutely.
Because this is what I keep saying, there is absolutely no shortage of funds, there is no shortage of willingness to help, provided the cause is well defined.
Absolutely.
And this is a fantastic cause.
It is.
And I'm so happy to share this with my viewers that Divyang Kendra is ISO 9001 in 2015. It is a certified and has distributed nearly 40,000 prosthetic and orthotic devices. Anything that you would like to say, sir?
Yeah. You see, when we realized the cause of disability, physical disability, when you look at it, the most significant one is the loss of mobility. When you look at somebody who lost mobility either because there was a loss of a limb, which could happen in our country with people working under circumstances which are not always safe,
Yes.
there are vehicular accidents, there are loss of limbs related to diabetes and other vascular conditions. And what happens is, when they lose their limb, one, they become dependent.
Yes.
Two, they become completely disappointed and disenchanted with life. So, providing an ability to move immediately meant, one, a restoration of movement. Two, they do regain some of their dignity. And also, it helps the other members of the family who could be otherwise productive not to be focused on being the caregivers.
Huh?
So that is how it started. So we realized number one was provision of the limbs became important. So starting with the Jaipur foot, which was a pre-made limb, which would be fitted on. And then we developed the system where we would manufacture in our own site customized lower limbs, both for people whose injuries were below the knee and above the knee. Obviously, the one above the knee would require a good functioning joint at the knee level, which was stable and yet flexible. And the second thing was the durability of the limb. Third thing was the weight of the limb in terms of comfort. Fourthly, whenever they have these limbs, the socket on which the stump has to fit had to be comfortable. So over a period of time, what we have done is continue to elaborate on the kind of limbs that we do, which today are lighter, more sturdy, more durable, and easy to wear. I'm not suggesting that we have reached the top end of the limbs.
But it's user-friendly in the sense.
User-friendly and affordable. You see, what happens is, if you look at the available artificial limbs today, when we talk about artificial limbs, there are artificial limbs available anywhere between 10,000 rupees and 15 to 18 lakhs.
Oh my God.
Individual limbs.
Oh.
Especially when you look at, most of the limbs that we use are the mechanical limbs, where you will have a nice foot, there is a nice pylon, there is a socket and a joint, and with cosmetic additions to make it look more acceptable, etc. But when you go to the more functional limbs, you would have read about the bionic limbs.
Yes.
The bionic limbs are right at the top end. They give you the most natural kind of a walk, right? Your swing, your spring, your ability to climb stairs, your ability to handle challenging kind of terrain, and even to run races. So they are equipped with sensors, microprocessors, artificial muscle, ability to read signal from the muscles which are existing.
Oh, okay.
So those are the higher end limbs, which become quite difficult to afford even for individuals with moderate incomes.
Yes.
So we need to focus on making our services available to the maximum number of people to get them functional.
Right.
So that's been our focus. But yes, we have advanced our limbs from level 1 to level 3 right now.
I'm sure this particular research must be ongoing.
Yes.
It's an ongoing R&D and things like that to improve it.
True.
That's what Rotarians do.
Absolutely.
We forget about what we did yesterday. Let's do something
It's always
new.
about what next.
What next?
Yes.
Now, talking about what next, after distributing almost 40,000 artificial limbs to various people, your club also started a physiotherapy center.
Yes.
Right? Let's talk about that, sir.
Great. You see, we realized that, you provide somebody an artificial limb, he is able to walk. But he needs support to get used to the idea of walking with the new limb. So that was the first thought in terms of introducing adequate physiotherapy. But secondly, we also realized that as people are getting older, people have other kinds of injuries or problems related to the spine or the joints. So these are people whose functionality can be restored to almost normal with adequate
Physiotherapy.
well-trained physiotherapists, and also neurorehabilitation. Because as people are living longer and with diabetes and hypertension, you and I are seeing more people who develop strokes and are recovering from that. So the physio unit started with an idea of restoring the maximum level of mobility possible to these people. It also adds another significant dimension that people whose movements are limited, even by just increasing age and not doing enough, even they get stimulated to move and become more functional and more confident of themselves. So the physio has been a very, very important addition, and it's been continuing now for a good 20 years.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Excellent. So, based on the research which WHO has published, there are 15% population the world over, which is close to about 1 billion people worldwide, have some kind of a disability. Kuch na kuch, something is about a 15% population, which is a huge number.
That is true. You see, till about the 70s, if you see the WHO figures would say about 10% of the world had some disability. But when we had better ways of defining limitations, disability, and with people living longer, with more chronic medical conditions coming up, you're right that the number of people with disability would possibly be around 1 billion. 1/5 of those would have significant impairments of some kind or the other.
Okay.
Say about 200 million would have some degree of impairments, which could be variable or combined. See, for instance, if you were to look at India, for instance, today, I think approximately 25 to 27 million is the number of people.
So, we are 27% of the world population of.
Almost that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So about 27 million have moderate disabilities of some kind, out of which 20% will have disorders due to limited mobility. 20% would have some kind of a visual impairment. About 10 to 12% would have some degree of hearing and speech impairment. And these figures all go up in the older people because there is a combination. In the elderly, there's a limitation of movement, there is a poor vision, and impaired hearing. So that compounds the risk of further injuries.
Right.
So that is why you and I know that the quantum of disability in the world is not small. And when you look at the access that they have to the services, the awareness for services, the affordability for services, all that makes it very difficult for many of them to have any kind of an improvement in these conditions. Which is why when you look at the government over the years has done some tremendous work in this area. They have, right from improving access to places, access to services.
The last 10 years have been amazing.
Yes.
It's absolutely amazing. Earlier on, we used to say, whenever one traveled abroad, that, they had designated parking lots, parking spaces, and there are ramps for people who needed, sitting on a wheelchair. But that thing has started even in India. I don't think so. There is a parking thing which is designated parking area is not there in various malls, etc. But ramps are available.
Yeah, I think the ramps to me are more important because, there's one aspect which there's a slight difference between the level of disability in our part of the world and the developed part of the world. The number of people with disabilities in countries like ours, almost 40% of those have never had an access to education, very little access to employment of very low levels of income. So for us, a lot of these people are lucky to be even able to use public transport. So for them, the ramp access becomes extremely valuable.
Right.
Small things like a good ramp with decent handle bar access, and to have redesigning of their own little kitchens at home,
Right.
to be able to reach and cook safely. Those are small things, but unless you thought about it, unless you had people who are imaginative to innovate on these things wouldn't happen.
Right. I'm sure this government is doing a fabulous job, and in the time to come, I'm very positive some more benefits will be coming. One will be able to see those things openly in our society because government is doing a great job. There is
Oh,
absolutely no
yes. You
doubt about
see,
it.
they have certainly, like I said, apart from the access, apart from the affordable care, and apart from providing increasing awareness, etc., there is also a sector which is focusing strongly on the rights of people with disabilities.
Yes.
So, people to be aware of their rights, people to have a lot of inclusivity. See, like if you see the World Disability Day theme for this year, 2025, is actually fostering a society which includes people with disability. So, fostering inclusivity of disabled people is actually the central theme of the World Disability Day 2025.
I believe so. This particular thing started with WHO, under the leadership of Dr. Margaret Chan, that time the Director General World WHO, and Robert Zolik, President of World Bank, which suggested that all these people must have rights, and hence the UN Convention on Rights of Person with Disability was passed some time ago. You were talking about the right.
That's right. See, the UN Convention helped many things. Number one, to be able to measure disability in a more certain manner and to have data which was adequately shared by these two people. And this was one of the first joint effort of the World Bank and the WHO.
Yes.
And Margaret Chan and Zolinka did a great job on this. The beauty is going further forward. When the rights to employment came up in Britain, and subsequently, one individual I've always thought was a phenomenal achiever in this area. It's sad we lost Javed Habibi a few years ago.
Oh,
Javed Habibi was about 53 or 54 when we lost him, wheelchair bound all his life. A phenomenal advocate. I mean, he was a great journalist, writer, but he addressed so many dimensions of advocating the rights of disabilities that, there was every diamond, every sort of dimension of disability, particularly rights-based. He had a very clear fundamental. Empathy and compassion are very important. But sympathy is not what we are looking for. He said sympathy-based mechanisms in support of the people with impairments is inadequate and wrong.
true.
So it had to be looking at it with empathy and a clear understanding of their rights.
Wow. How do physical and societal environments convert impairment into a long term disability? And please share your thoughts on human right approach to disability rehab.
Great. The best thing would be to start with, people who have been very, very successful. When you look at support, today, for instance, if somebody is immobile, if you give him enough support, whip, a good mobile unit, a laptop, a speech monitor, speech modifier, he will not be any less functional than you and I.
I agree with you.
Yeah. And, there have been many people. I mean, like, if you look at our own country, musician like Ravindra Jain was visually impaired.
Absolutely.
Stevie Wonder, we all know about.
Yes.
And, so there are a lot of people, Helen Keller. So these are people who had disabilities. It did not stop them from achieving what they did. So, I think it is for us, your choice of words on this was absolutely on the spot. Impairments can be there, but you and I have to make sure it doesn't become a disability.
True.
That can occur at multiple levels. I think the biggest contribution that Rotarians have had, obviously in partnership with the various governments and WHO and CDC and people, is our polio eradication initiative has created, from the 1988 till now, if you saw the amount of polio we had before that, 19 to 20 million is the number of people who could have been paralyzed if we had not managed to stop polio in them. So, prevention-wise, it's been probably one of the best ways of stopping people from getting disabled.
True.
Having done that, though polio is not there in India anymore for the last 14 years, but the amount of people who had developed polio in their childhood and are living with the residual deformity is still a huge number. So that is the other area we've been focusing on in the Rotary Divyang Kendra.
Mm-hmm.
We have been supporting polio corrective surgeries. One of the very strong advocates and a national expert on polio corrective surgeries is Dr. Matthew Varghese at St. Stephen's Hospital.
I had a pleasure of meeting up with him
Absolutely.
some time ago, yes.
So Matthew has been very happy to identify people who will benefit considerably from surgery. We do the same thing. We identify people who will benefit from the service, and we manage to create the funding to support these services.
Wow.
So we've been doing a lot of polio corrective surgeries in these areas. And similarly, when you look at not letting impairments become disabilities, I'm sure you're familiar with the gift of life.
Yes.
So, our club...
HMP was here.
Right.
Just a few months ago. We launched his Gift of Life podcast very recently.
Yes, I met HMP after that. One of the finest programs of Rotary, which has now been going on since 1972, is the Gift of Life program.
Yes.
On congenital heart disease surgeries.
Yes.
So we have, Dr. Ganesh Mani is one of our members, a cardiac surgeon of eminence. So we have been doing a lot of work on the gift of life surgeries also. The biggest advantage with this is these are children born with a heart defect.
Heart defect, yes.
And once the surgery is done, and once they have recovered, they become completely normal people, receiving proper education, able to enjoy sports and other hobbies, and grow up like you and me.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Similarly, we have had children who had hearing disabilities. So again, we've been very lucky as a club. We have an ENT surgeon who does a lot of work on cochlear implants.
Mm-hmm.
So we've also been doing cochlear implants and supporting that project as well.
Wow.
Interestingly, ours is a club which, luckily, we have probably have about 12 to 15 doctors of multiple specialties.
Fantastic.
Right from cardiologists to cardiac surgeons to orthopedic surgeons to ENT surgeons. I am a urologist. we have anesthetists, and you name it, pediatricians, pathologists. So, designing programs to support healthcare related projects has been a great passion.
I wouldn't be surprised if one day your club will start a hospital. You never know.
I think it's a great thought. It's a great thought, and I'm so glad that a couple of the large projects that we are doing in Rotary today are hospital related,
Yes.
and some of them have come up amazingly well.
So the negative attitude creates an invisible barrier. What can we as individuals and communities do to change this kind of a behavior and perception?
Yeah, see, I think the first thing is the raising the awareness and letting the public understand that because I have a small impairment doesn't make me a failure. My other capabilities are intact. I might just need a little additional support in the area where I'm a little weak, in which case I can deliver completely on the other dimensions. So, number one, not looking down on people is terribly important. There are people with mild visual disabilities, and we have very, very derogatory kind of remarks. Ambae, langdae, lulae, kanae. So,
Unfortunate.
very unfortunate. And they actually magnify or create a single piece called a disability. Whereas many of these are marginal, and with the right support, these people would be as successful as you and I.
True.
Yeah. So I think to overcome the negative thoughts, the first step would have to be to let people be aware
And
that these are
compassionate.
as normal as you and I are,
Yeah.
and they do not need your sympathy. They just need you to understand them, support them,
Yes.
give them education, give them employment, give them adequate health care to compensate for their limitations. That is what they need more than anything else.
True. True. Technology is also reshaping accessibility. You spoke about the differential in the pricing from 10,000 to 15 lakhs or so. Would you like to say anything? How does innovation is supporting Divyang empowerment?
Innovation is occurring at every level. Like we said, right from the creation of easy modes of access, right from changes in the vehicles, which are wheelchair adaptable vehicles, right from the ramp accesses, which are well designed to take wheelchairs or individuals with limited capabilities to walk, the adaptability of various escalators and other things to newer technology to support these people becomes important. When it comes to technology, in terms of individual body parts which either need replacement or need a supportive system. For instance, when we were talking about limbs, I told you about the value of microprocessors, the sensors. Similarly, the role of 3D printing, the role of carbon fiber limbs. So you are creating more accurately customized limbs,
Depending on the
which
need.
are stronger, more robust, lighter, and far more functional. Similarly, when you go into the areas of assessing, when you're looking at evaluating hearing impairment, the better you're able to diagnose them, the earlier you're able to diagnose them,
Better.
the better the technology to support the cochlear implants.
True.
Similarly, you also look at areas which probably were not discussed before, the retinopathy of prematurity. Children who are born premature have visual disturbances called due to retinopathy, and there are mechanisms which can diagnose those early, so solutions are possible.
I did that a podcast with Dr. Raju from UK on
See,
this
Dr.
subject.
Raju actually is one of the leading world figures on preventing blindness.
Yes.
And VK Raju has, lived in the United States for almost 30, 40 years.
Yes.
And continues the phenomenal work both at in the US
And in UK.
and in UK and in Andhra. He does a lot of work in Andhra, both in terms of training people to recognize retinopathy or prematurity
True.
and induce adequate treatment.
I'll be meeting him in the last week of January.
Yeah, 31st he's doing something in London.
And there's something in London. He's sent me an
I was
invite.
supposed to be there, but I am in the Caribbean at that time.
Okay.
So I'm not able to join because I had spoken to Sandeep yesterday.
Okay.
So I'm not able to come that time. Yeah.
I'm planning to go for that.
That'll be lovely, yes.
So, what is your dream for Saksham Divyang, a fully empowered Divyang community?
Right. See, my dream would be access, the awareness, the support, education, employment, and rights of any Divyang should be at the level that I have today.
Fabulous.
That's my dream.
I think in one sentence you have covered it all. So you've been a chairman for Rotary Delhi Central Charitable Trust for a very, very long time. Almost 7 years now, I believe.
I was chairman when, for the last 7, 8 years, they made me the chairman emeritus.
Okay.
Because while we were looking at modifying the way for us to function, we realized that a rotating chairmanship would actually bring in more thoughts.
Yes.
And probably have greater engagement. But the nice thing that we have realized is even during my 7 years as the chairman and subsequently have been part of the chairman emeritus, each member and each leader of the club and the trust have shown tremendous amount of commitment and willingness to help. But most importantly, each one has brought a newer dimension of thought or action for us to remain vibrant and to do better each day.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I believe you are planning to have a fundraising initiative very soon. This is what I heard. And what is your one message to all the donors and corporates who would be participating in the fundraising activity, especially meant for Divyang Kendra?
Right. You see, this event basically is to commemorate the World Disability Day. And like I said, our aim is to primarily promote awareness of what is needed by people with physical impairments and what is it that we are in a position to offer, and the gaps between what we are offering today and what we should be offering in future. That gap can be bridged best if we are adequately supported by funding. Individual donors, somebody who may not be in a position to contribute a very large sum, might want to support one or two Divyangs by supporting a limb or a tube or a wheelchair or a mobility aid. Somebody might be involved in supporting a Gift of Life child program.
A drop also helps.
Every drop helps because we are all doing it together.
We are all doing it together.
That's right.
Well, sir, thank you so much for your decades of dedicated service and leadership. Thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts about one of the very, very important subjects. I'm sure your fundraising is going to be a very successful one because need of the hour is to help everybody in beautifully you described in one sentence, dignity, opportunity, and the rights. So, because they are part of us, they are fellow Indians, we have to be be compassionate
Absolutely.
towards everybody. And to my audience, if you like our content, if you like our videos, please do share, like, and subscribe. And if you have a story to tell or a project to discuss, or if you want any improvement in our content and our presentation, please do write to us. It will be my pleasure, honor to welcome such suggestions. Thank you so much. Jai Hind. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I
sir.
really
Thank you
enjoyed
so
being
much.
a part.